to the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar pointing you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Man Talk Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo!
What's going on, good people? Welcome to Man Talk Mondays. I'm Derek, the thought engineer, here with the man. Y'all know him, y'all love him, comedian John Yogi.
They know me. I don't know if they love me.
Why would they love you, man? You get a hand? You gave yourself a hand.
I don't know if they love me. They know me.
You supposed to give it in.
Yeah, no, they
Shame.
They don't love me.
Don't love you like you do. You supposed to hit it with the shame, bro.
Woo-woo. What's going on, everybody? Good to be back, man. Another show, man. Another show. Glad to be here, man.
Yeah. Get ready for a hot one. Right?
This should be a good one tonight.
Should be a good one. Should be a good one.
Should be good.
We're going to need y'all tonight.
We're crossing over the line that I normally don't like crossing.
You don't
over.
like crossing over this line?
I don't like this one right here, brother. I don't like this. I don't like this one.
About to go in.
All limp conversations. I don't like
We about to go in. Well, let me just remind everybody real quick so we can get into this. This is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we give you the rational realities of relationships. But of course, we're doing it from a man's perspective. Keep in mind, this conversation is not just for men. We want everybody to join in, men, women, boys, and girls. Everybody's welcome. How you do this, go into the comment section, leave your comment, leave your question. We can see this, but by all means, this is how you talk to us. So hop into this conversation. We want to hear from you. That's how you do it. So get on in them comments. Get in them comments.
Get on up in here. Get on up in here.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff.
Tell your friends. Go, y'all. Matter of fact, y'all need to be having a listening parties right now. We about to drop the album.
All right, so we're talking about tonight. What's going on, Mr. Kente Wano? He says, you need me in this panel. I should have hit you up, Ken. I should have hit you up. Should have got Australia's perspective. See what people outside the U.S. are thinking about this, right?
I've been working on my Australian too, Mike.
Oh no.
maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
So we're talking about tonight the black man vote. Who's really for black men? The black man vote. Who's really for black men? That's what we're talking about. So black men, right? So now everybody want our vote now. They want our vote. So let me know how you feel about it. Hop in the comments. Let me know. Drop your thoughts in the comments. How you feel about it? They coming to us now. They want our help now, right? So I want to know. Let us know. Drop in the comments. Let us know. So here we are, 2024 election. We got Kamala Harris for the Democrats. Mm-hmm. We got Donald Trump for the Republicans.
Yes, we do.
Right?
Yes, we do.
I'm pretty sure y'all been keeping up with all of this, right? You can't turn on no TV or nothing without something, right?
What are you running those commercials?
Oh man. But uniquely enough, because I don't know if I've ever seen this, there is a whole, they're trying to get the black man vote.
They're trying to get our vote. Yes. I want to say, and Vice President Kamala Harris even has a list of things she is trying to do explicitly for the black man.
Right. So both of them making promises. Trump, criminal reform and, doing things for entrepreneurs, and Kamala Harris, she's talking about small business loans and stuff for for black men, and she wants to deal with the health disparities.
Who
in
gonna
the
do
black
something?
community.
Who gonna do something about the PPP? Please,
the PPP sweep.
Oh no!
Hope ain't none of y'all getting caught up in that sweep.
What you talking?
Because they done pull a broom out on these people,
yes, they have.
and it is not looking good for some people, right?
For real,
right? So do you really feel like, you know, black men are being taken serious, or are we being used as political pawns?
Man, I think it's kind of a combination. I think we are definitely being used as political pawns, but I just think I'm so happy to just be in a position to where our voice can be heard. You know, I mean, man, because for so many years, man, I felt like we didn't matter.
Oh wow.
You know, and I'm just glad. I'm glad that we've gotten to a point to where we are even considered in the fight. Because for a long time we wasn't even considered.
You're right. Ken says, I'm too afraid to comment. I might lose some friends. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
Exactly like that.
Keisha says, Trump's definitely not, bro, Pastor. It's Kamala. Thanks for the proper pronunciation, John.
Don't start on me. Yeah, we just started. The show just started. And
I know she's going in already.
And it's the thing, guys. And I was thinking about this on the well reel. We are not talking about. We're not even asking who you voting for. That's we don't want to know. We're tonight. What we want to do, we're just trying to figure out why is everybody tripping, acting a fool, trying to get our vote. What's going on? Why are we here?
Any other time, y'all. Right? So now we impotent.
Now we somebody.
We impotent now, right? Keisha says Kamala is the wrestler from back in the day. So how do you pronounce it? Some people say Kamala. Some people say Kamala.
It's Kamala.
I do remember Kamala, the Ugandan warrior.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah,
he's from South Dallas. Too. Uganda. He ain't seen Uganda.
Ugandan.
Ugandan giant. He was South Dallas.
But now some people might argue that black men are being taken seriously now, right?
Well, this is the interesting thing about it. I think we do, because when Vice President Kamala said that when she officially touched her black side, and all of the women kind of got together and they raised the money for her.
Oh.
And so you got the black woman that's gonna vote for her. So now that man sitting over there looking like, well, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out who's gonna do what. And it's all about, because at the end of the day, it's about the politics of it.
Yeah, and when you think about it, and women, I want to hear from you. Women, I want to hear. Are you voting for her because she's a viable candidate, or is it more about her being a woman, and then specifically a woman of color? I want to know. Y'all have in the comments, let me know why. If you are voting for Kamala Harris, why? Is it because she's a woman and does a woman of color that just sweeten the pot for you?
Well, let me say this. And you know how Donald Trump became so relevant. He became relevant because people were tired of politics as usual.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because I'm trying to figure out, how do we get here? Yeah. I'm like, well, we got here because regular politicians wasn't getting it done. And they wanted something more than just regular politics.
Right.
And so what did we do? We threw away the baby and the bathwater.
Oh man!
And we got some that we brought in a person that is not political. He don't.
No.
Oh man.
He is the anti-politician.
Oh, very very much so.
Clearly the anti-politician.
Very much so.
Right.
Very much so.
But do we feel like, this is a desperate ploy? Are they just throwing stuff out there to just really get our vote? I would think the race is so close that they want to make sure that everybody's accounted for. Because I think what they don't want is for either side to lose and say, man, we ignored such and such. And that end up biting us in our butt. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I do believe the race is probably closer than people any side wants to admit.
Yeah, I was watching it was a news piece, and I think it was Fox News, but they went into this black barbershop and then they were asking all of the black men about, the election and all this, and everybody was giving their opinions, and they were pretty split.
Mm.
They were pretty split. So Keisha says she's a viable candidate. Her being a woman of color is a bonus. Okay. All right. What makes her a viable candidate, though? I want to know. Ken says everyone got tired of the same old politics, even here in Australia. So this is a world issue. It's not just something that's happening in America. Because politicians and politics is, have they really served us?
If we ask the question, what makes Kamala viable, then we have to ask the question, what makes Donald Trump viable as well?
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at Donald Trump. You got his whole criminal reform, criminal justice thing he's pushing.
Well, he's doing that for himself.
He's doing it for himself?
He's a criminal.
So he has some little intrinsic motivation.
There's no way a black guy could be running and be indicted all those times and be running for president.
Oh no.
There's no way. He couldn't explain that away. He couldn't make up enough excuses. He couldn't hide that. Just know the American people would not be going.
But that's what he's pushing his criminal reform record out there. That's one of the things he's pushing out there as evidence for what he's done already for black men, for black people. And there are people who are buying into it. They like, hey, this man he's been more about what he said than any other politician. That's what they're saying.
Oh yeah, the same guy that called the Gina 6 out said they were guilty and wanted people to kill him.
Oh, is it Gina 6 and what was the other the Central Park 5?
Yeah.
And
it just seemed to me politicians do what politicians do, and that's be all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just have a hard time when we don't fact check enough people, because everybody just say anything.
Yeah.
And because for the life of me, 6 months to a year after they're elected, I'm sure neither candidate will be able to do all of the stuff that they're saying they're gonna do for black people, for black men, black women.
Keisha says Trump's a convicted felon. That was enough to not vote for him. Keisha says he's disrespectful to women, his child included. Okay, what does his child do? The young one did something, or I don't know. Keisha said he's disgusting. All right, but are black men buying into it? Are they buying into it though?
What? And said I didn't want to say this, but man, it seems like black men got more of a problem with Kamala than anybody do. It seems like I'm trying to get it. It just seems like they have more of a problem with voting for her because, and I don't want to say because she's a black woman, but man, it just seemed like, boy, they want her to walk the line before black men are willing to say they want to vote for her. She's not qualified. She don't have this. She don't have that. And it's shocking to me because I heard Michelle Obama say today, man, I have a hard time trying to figure out why we have one candidate that we want to apply by all these rules, and the other one we just accept anything they do. And my thing is, what you do for one, you have to do for the other one. You want Kamala to be presidential, but Donald Trump could be a mudslinger, and we good with that. Oh, that's just him protecting himself. Well, no, because there's a way this is supposed to be done.
And to that point, what I'm tired of personally is, are you running a political campaign or is this WWE wrestling?
Yeah.
Because they do more talking about each other
than they do the politics.
Coming after each other and all of this type of stuff, taking these cheap shots over commercials and stuff. They do more of that than actually talking about
the Colin Allred,
the platform.
The Colin Allred commercial. Oh man, brother, they coming after him.
That's really bad.
When they had the big guy running over the girl playing soccer, and it was the big guy, and he knocked her down. Oh, it was just, they doing a lot. They doing a lot. Yeah. They're doing a lot.
Keisha says he groped his daughter. Yes, black men are buying into it because they want another stimulus check.
Well, no, see, that's funny, but I've heard people say that when Trump was in office, we were getting more on our paychecks. I've heard people say that, and which
a lot of people say, yeah, because in that black barbershop, when they were talking to the men, a lot of men made that point. They said they want to be able to feed their families. They want to be able to, have some kind of economic security with, and they say they saw more of it during Trump's administration than in Biden's administration. We know during Biden's administration, this thing has gotten way bad.
But the tax laws, Trump's tax laws are the reason. Trump's tax laws are the reason that it's so bad, though. Trump, man, the tax laws he put in place are murder. They're killing us, and we're gonna be dealing with that well into the next presidency, though. Yeah.
When they start messing with them tax laws. Now, did Trump ride out Obama's surplus?
Oh, I believe he did. I believe. It's funny. I believe his hatred for Obama did a lot. So now that that's gone, if you're gonna be president, now what you standing on? Because you still don't hate before.
Yeah, I think he's still. Yeah, that's still kind of a part of the whole thing too, right? Ken says, "I like straight shooters. I don't trust good shoes. All right, who sound good, say the right things, but underneath they could be wolves. Charismatic people we can get tricked by." And I think that's what politicians have become. They become very good at saying the right things and really just kind of manipulating people.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
Like Kamala Harris, she's talking about what she said, 1 million loans, small business loans. She wants to promote Black entrepreneurship and do things for small businesses for Black men. And then she's talking about, she wants to get rid of the health disparities for Black men in this country.
So wait. Okay, let's if we can for a second. And how do we do that? How do you do that? Are you gonna take all the church's chickens and Popeye's chicken? No, because that's
what you make available.
Because that's why our health is bad. We eat bad. And that's because we got more alcohol and those kind of places in our areas than we do anywhere else. I mean, make me understand how you gonna do that. How you gonna make doctors care more about us than they do their counterparts? How you gonna make them do that? Because you can listen, man. It sounds good. It really does.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. You look at the promises, and these things are put out here before you actually see anything, right? As Linda says, "Good evening, sirs. Our country is in turmoil, ruin of character, values, and upholding the Constitution of the USA since we are now here. No matter the candidate, male or female, our children are watching and listening to the rhetoric of many. Therefore, for me, it's about the person that vows to adhere to the state of democracy for all citizens being at stake. At present, Kamala is the most viably aligned with constitutional policy and for the country. Lastly, my faith aids me in making a conscious decision." I think is what she was saying, a conscious decision. All right. Keisha said Trump was in office during Obama's economy plan. He didn't do jack. Right. Stimulus checks came from Obama's surplus. Right. So, and when you look at the whole thing, how many politicians have actually done what they said they were going to do during their campaign?
But this is the thing, though. Politicians can't do what they say they're going to do because it's not just about them and their policy. Congress has to allow you to do a lot of the stuff that you want to do. And I'm really tough on President Obama because I'm like, man, he didn't really do nothing. He really do nothing. But then as you think about it, they weren't going to let him do nothing. His hands were tired. His hands were tied.
Okay.
And I think with most presidents, regardless of what they're trying to do, for the most part, their hands are tied. Now I just heard this today. Even with the stimulus checks that we got when President Trump was in office,
Mm-hmm.
they were fought. They were they had a really tough time trying to get those out.
Right.
It took some people in Congress to say, hey man, we got to do something for the people. And the very people that fought it were the names that had their name on it when the checks went out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you bring up a great point. Then why make campaign promises if you can't assure that you can keep them? Why don't you say these are my campaign wishes instead of promises?
Well, because you have to, for example, my biggest problem with Kamala when she first said she was gonna run for presidency is she put the Chucks back on and she was with her Soros sisters, and I'm like, but we ain't seen you for years. We ain't seen you since you were the vice president. But generally, that's what the presidency, that's what the president does. Vice president does. They don't really do much. Just kind of play the background. But it just seemed like every time it come to us, they come to our church, they sing in our choirs.
Oh,
Lord, we ain't no ways tired. Like, Hillary, if you don't get out of here. If you don't get out of here at these black churches trying to get these black people, right. Church and politics should be mixed anyway.
Oh man! Now you gonna kick over hornets nest
they don't have no business at our churches.
You gonna kick over hornets nest with that one.
At our churches. They don't have no. Tell me I'm wrong. They don't have no business at our churches.
Well, if you look at the separation of church and state, nah, they shouldn't be there. But you have pastors that bring them in, allow them to come in and talk to the congregation and stuff. Ephesians says, I'm numb about this election, but I'm still voting, shaking my head. I think a lot of people feel the same way about.
I just want
this
to be
election.
over. I just want to get it over with.
Oh man,
I just want to go vote and get it over. I really do. I just want to be over with. Whatever. Okay, but I say this. I do say this, and that's what I tell everybody who vote. If you don't vote, then you deserve whatever you get, because you have an opportunity.
I don't know if I can ride with that no more, man. I don't know if I can ride. They done sold us on that for so long.
Listen,
so
man.
long. If you don't get out to the polls and vote, then hush your mouth about.
Do you know the backs that's been whooped for that previous? Hey man, that little son.
Listen, the backs that was whooped for to get that, we ain't losing it because, you know what I'm saying? We lose it because of how we act, period. But as far as the vote is concerned, as far as going to the polls, you can only do people bad for so long before they be like, you know what? Y'all can have this. People are getting tired of the promises that are never kept.
But hold on now. But it's not just, for example, doing away with the middle class is not, they don't just affect black people. It affects everybody. There are more middle class people than any other class.
Okay.
That affects everybody.
Okay.
So we can't just, and I think too many times we are about the black thing. And I'm as black as anybody. Well, actually I'm a red bone, but I used to be black.
Yeah.
But I'm simply
the red bone
saying,
been smoked on. You smoke that bone.
Well, I'm simply saying, I think everybody has a responsibility. I think we have to.
Let me give Ms. Linda. She says, I'm thankful that I can make decisions so as not to support her because she's a woman/black woman. Let's make mature decisions here from policy perspectives. And listen, I truly get what Ms. Linda is saying. I get that. And I can go with that. But I've heard people say we got an opportunity to get a quote unquote black woman in office. I've heard people say this.
But they said the same thing President Obama was in there. That was okay then.
It was never okay. But you understand history is still looming. And if I can pull on those heartstrings about,
and if we be
progress,
honest,
for the black community,
if we would be honest, oh my God, that was the biggest mess.
Oh wow,
I ain't
Not
never
an
heard,
Obama fan.
Oh man, listen, I ain't never heard nobody get talked to as bad as they were talking to him. The disrespect
Go ahead.
that
Go ahead.
came with that whole, oh my God, it was just, oh man, and the country hadn't been right. If we want to tell the truth, the country hadn't been right since then.
No.
They said that it was Trump that stirred up the hate and divide.
That set us in a bad direction.
Oh,
that set us in a bad direction.
Big time.
Let me get Ken. He says, I think lawlessness, illegal immigrants, we need to pay attention to because the Bible says that the love for many wax cold because of lawlessness. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's the thing that they play with us with the whole criminal reform and the whole the border and all that type of stuff. I think they sell us one thing and they working some on the back end.
I'm sure.
A lot of times. But
very much so.
Going back to your point about Obama, I think you're absolutely right because before Obama got in office, the office of the president was a prestigious office.
Well, yes.
It still had that prestige on it.
It did. But remember when the dude threw the shoe at he almost got a shoe shenanigans?
Well, he said a shoe shenanigans. Yeah, you talking about
took off his shoe and threw his shoe at President
George Bush Jr. Yeah, George Bush Jr.
You know you doing a bad job when somebody throw their shoe at you.
Well, now you absolutely right. There was a lot of, that whole nepotism. How you get nepotism in for a political office like president? But that's all. But the disrespect that they showed President Obama when he was in office, it damaged the entire office.
It did.
And I think it created the perfect storm for a guy like Donald Trump to simply walk into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you lowered it.
Yeah, you lowered the standard.
All the shots that you took at him, because it was about color, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was about color. And, people wouldn't allow you to say anything out the way about the president before. But then when he got in office, they bring it up scriptures from Psalm talking about may another, know what I'm saying? May another take his place. May his children be fatherless and all that. I'm like, this was coming from churches.
It's from the church.
This was coming from churches.
But now there's no greater divide than Sunday morning.
Oh man. And I think that divide is really showing up right now. That divide is showing up real big right now for especially African-American churches. This divide is getting real bad because you do have some that are looking at Kamala Harris and some are looking. That divide is sitting right there in the middle of the black church.
In my church, we don't talk. We have a mixed church. We don't talk politics. We don't talk anything that could be divisive because I think politics in the wrong spirit can be very divisive. And so we don't. It's fun. I think my ask Pastor about that Sunday when I see him. Hey, who we voting for? Let's see what he say.
Wow.
Let's see if we start casting demons out. I'm sure when I ask him that. When I see him, I'm sure I ask him about it. Yeah, because I think because by having a mixed church, you really can't get into it because you don't want to offend anybody. We live on a thing. We live in a day now to where you can't really you don't want to offend anybody because as soon as you offend somebody, they're gonna be in front of the church. You're gonna be on the news, and now you got a great exodus going away from the church. So I'm curious to kind of figure out how he navigates through that and to keep everybody happy because ultimately that's what you're trying to do is you're trying to navigate through it and keep everybody happy.
Our producer just showed me a post. It says, "Dear white politicians, do not go to black churches and tell them how much you hate racism. Go to white churches and tell them."
Wow.
The issue of race, because we're talking about the black man vote, right?
Yeah.
Who's really up for us? That's what we're talking about. The issue of race and to see so many black men, because traditionally black men just voted Democrat because that was typically the party that black people went with. But now I saw a video today, black dudes rocking their MAGA hats and all of this type of stuff, talking about that's my guy, and all of this.
Man,
this is what you have, and the decline of the amount of black men voting for Democrats. They are concerned about the big dip that they've had,
as they should be. But if you, man, and I said I wasn't gonna do this, but I'll apologize at the end of the show.
Oh,
but if the Democratic Party would stop embracing the Democratic Party, we got to stop. Man, it's so uncomfortable being a Democrat because you're making me adjust my views and my beliefs, and it makes me feel like I'm compromising with most of my beliefs, with most of my spiritual beliefs.
I think that whole Democrat Republican is a disaster anyway. Number one, you got us to buy into a two-party system. There are other parties out there, but we feel like there's only Democrat and Republican because they don't get the publicity because the news media and all this type of stuff, they only push those two. Ken says laws shouldn't be changed for political advantage and become political votes. Laws are created to ensure citizens get better opportunities, not illegal immigrants. Wow. And to his point, it's your house, right? If you have your house, you gonna do for your kids first or for somebody outside your house?
My kids first.
You're gonna do for your kids first.
That's what you would think.
So that's why I'm like, I don't really understand all of this, just let people come, because it cheapens the value of citizenship. Citizenship is the highest privilege you can give to a person. It's the highest privilege. And if you make it just real easy, real simple.
But it's always been better for immigrants coming here. It's always been better. Right. Their belief system is different when they get here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you should keep them away. I'm saying there was always a process for coming in. It's like you just completely just bypassing this. We got a whole lot of people chiming in. So let me get this. Bill Lombardi, he says, I love you guys and miss you. Same here, Bill. Good to see you.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that's Bill, man.
Been a minute since we seen Bill, man.
He says, I want to ask a tough question. Is abortion a free pass for men to act immorally and not take responsibility for their actions? Are we men dumping our responsibility on women who have to bear the burden of a choice they should not have to make? All right, we're gonna get into it. Let's get into it.
Well, Bill, you just gonna ask.
First of all, let me say this. God simply said, the way of the transgressor is hard. We in this position because we ain't do what he say. So I'm not finna sit up here and try to, sit up there and play with rules to try to make any of it okay. The standard was set by what he said. And if we're not doing what he said, all of the chaos that ensues, we invite it. So I sit back and say, listen, until we get that right, we can have debates all day. But these are conversations that should never be had to begin with if we were doing it his way. So I get where you're coming from. I get what you're saying, but it's a moot point, because if us being men of God, right? You a man of God, I'm a man. Us being men of God, we should never even be in this debate, because the standard is get married, have a baby. That's the standard. Get married, have a baby. Now, I understand all of the other outlying things that people typically use as, to pull on your heartstrings, because if somebody gets sexually assaulted or something like that in the baby, listen,
that's different.
That's a horrible thing to even.
And that's a very small percentage.
It is a very small percentage
of what we talk. What the issue
exactly.
is.
And you have people who live reckless and they use that as just contraceptives.
Bill, they out there doing some everything, Bill, and we know it. And I know we want to try to protect people from themselves, but we can't.
We can't. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. If people have the right to make their own decisions. Linda says, amazing. We the people do not take charge for what we are responsible for either. We allow this behavior because we are idle in ours. She is a citizen. She has the right to be a candidate. When will we get past sexism and do that which is right? lack of our civic duty. There must be something going on in the comments because I don't remember us attacking her because you're a woman. All right. Linda says, how often do we participate in local, state, and national politics or elections? I prepared 7 years to be a candidate for public office. However, education took precedent to provide a place to educate our children / our future. All right. So now I heard a lot of people say that we focus a lot on national politics, but local politics really carry more weight.
Absolutely. It does.
Because listen, that states' rights thing's coming back up.
Oh,
The thing that we fought against to get the right to vote.
That's a big
Guess what? The Supreme Court has already removed that thing that was put in place to protect our right to vote. So they've opened the door back up for states' rights. And states' rights, depending on the state, it can get real ugly, right? We knew what was going on down in the South, in Mississippi, Alabama, and places like that, Georgia, and all that, back in the day when Dr. King and everybody was fighting for this. It was about states' rights, and the federal government stepped in and took over their voting thing. But now they've rolled back that whole thing by the Supreme Court
because we weren't paying no attention.
We wasn't paying attention.
What's going on? Mm-hmm.
We wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Right. So we got the whole economic reform, because as much as, people get upset about abortion, people get upset about the border and letting people in, economics is the biggest issue.
Oh man, I don't know.
It's the biggest issue.
It's one of the issues, but they hanging a noose on the neck of this abortion and the border. Oh my goodness!
Right?
They make us feel like that these people are coming across the border and taking all the jobs, they're getting all the money, they're doing, and it's like we got so much more stuff going on in our day-to-day lives than that.
Oh yeah.
How is that the biggest thing that's going? How is that the determinative, the tipping point? How is that the starter boat to come back? Oh, we got to do something. We can't put up with much more of this. It's like, what are y'all talking about? The people that are arguing about it got all the freedoms.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
They ain't got to worry about the black jobs being taken because they're not the black people. They not.
What type of jobs are they?
The black jobs.
The black jobs.
The black jobs. They ain't got to worry about that.
But even that has economic implications to it.
Yeah.
Even that does. Ken says, I think we should be able to share our voices without hate. We as citizens should be canceled by the world, and it certainly shouldn't happen amongst brothers and sisters. Love conquers all. He said, love one another no matter what we believe, especially as kingdom citizens. We are not to hate on others no matter what their political affiliation. We belong to God's government first. The argument is always abortion instead of promoting no sex before marriage, but they don't want that. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the conversation nobody wants to have, because there is no expectation for anybody to keep themselves until they get married. No expectation. Matter of fact, they treat you like a weirdo if you do.
We don't even talk about being virgins no more.
Listen, I look at society. I look at all of the issues we have, all of the social ills we have. And if you trace it back, it all goes back to people abusing sex. All goes back to it. Everything goes back to people abusing sex. Fatherless homes, which creates single mother homes, which creates all these economic disparities and stuff. Yeah. All goes back to it. Stephen says, yes, local government is essential to national. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that. We do not pay attention. We gotta turn the TV off sometimes, because they don't talk about the local elections, what's happening in your city and stuff. They don't talk about that on the big screen, right? You got to tap in to actually know what's going on with that. And people are passing laws. People are doing things while we're sleeping.
When they say get woke, that's what they're talking about.
Oh man, yeah. Ken says, I think the problem with Kamala, she didn't go through the primary process. And if you haven't been tested, you can't be trusted. And her lack of experience keeps showing up by not being able to answer questions.
So you telling me and it's funny because we have rhetoric that we use when we're talking about Kamala that don't apply to Donald Trump. And that is that because he's a man?
I think the expectation is different. I don't think we expect a whole lot from him. I think we've written him off as being a certain way, and our expectations are real low.
But because you write him off, you can't make it that much. Okay, if you got a boyfriend that ain't worth nothing, you can't put the next guy through hell because the dude you was with wasn't nothing.
You're right, but that's what we do.
That's what we doing. That don't make it right though. Because my thing is, we need somebody qualified to run the country.
Yeah,
they don't even have to be at this point. They don't even have to be great. We just want somebody competent enough to run the country. Listen to me now. That'll stay up doing meetings. We want somebody young enough and competent enough to run the country.
I ain't playing for the cameras,
dude. Come on, man. Is that asking too much? I'm like, oh my God, what are we looking for? Because men would say this all the time. She's not qualified. Not qualified for what? Do you know some of the ding dongs we've had as presidents? Not qualified for what?
And I get what you're saying, but I think we measure politicians against each other. We don't measure them against a standard. I don't think any of them meet the standard because politics as a whole has gone so far down the drain. I don't think you can pick anybody in that whole bunch to even run the country. We don't even know what running the country is about these days. Dr. Selena says lack of experience. She's the only candidate who has been in all three branches of government. Trump was born into money. Does that equate to experience? No, you're absolutely right.
Great point.
You absolutely right.
But again, when we talk about Kamala, when men talk about Kamala, we often say she hadn't proven nothing to us that she can do it. It's like, what have we been looking at for the last? We had Sleepy Joe before Sleepy Joe. We had Donald Trump.
Ken says, I think you need to have a deadline to voting. Otherwise, you open up the doors to corruption after the deadline concerning votes. Stephanie says, those trying to make immigrants the enemy may be trying to steer your attention away from real issues. It's a shell game. And that's what. Yeah. And I think that shell game happens more often than we realize.
Oh, because something else is definitely going on. If they're pointing at these things, something else is definitely going on. Yeah, that's true. I believe that too.
Because I think it's more of, no, we got to keep them out while the whole time they're waving them in. And it's like, there's a reason why. And I heard somebody point out why it's more advantageous, especially the Democrats, to have people coming in from different countries or something. But and hurry up and make them citizens. Oh, I heard somebody mention that. Right. So as black men, should we put our confidence in politics, especially when it comes to, well, let me ask this first. What is our main point? What is our main thing that as black men we're focusing on? Is it economic reform? Is it economic opportunity? Is it the health disparities that Kamala Harris is talking about? Is it the whole criminal justice reform that Trump is talking about?
If I can just keep the men out the women's bathrooms, I'll be all right. If I could just keep the men out of the little girls' bathrooms because they identify with being a woman, I would be fine. I could rest at night. While we worried about this stuff that's not really important, stuff is going on under our eyes, man, right underneath the eyes that we winking at. We can't wink at that stuff. That brother, we can't wink at that.
And that's why I say this thing is more economic than anything. Because if you can't feed your family, you don't care about nothing else. If you have been hungry before?
But oh yeah, brother.
You don't care about nothing.
When they serve sandwiches. When they serve sandwiches, brother. Serve sandwiches, brother. We done ate them before. When they serve sandwiches. We've been It's been hungry before when you drunk water for dinner. and it took you a nap. Drink your glass of water.
Can't put no seasoning in the water. Just some bouillon or something.
Go there and lay down.
Some chicken water. Something.
They go take you a nap for dinner.
But because people looking at their paychecks pretty much shrinking because everything else is becoming expensive.
But the problem is everything taxed. We do too much. The government do too much. You can't tax everything.
Yeah. I don't think people realize just how taxed we are in this country.
I got my job gave me some years back. My job gave me my walking papers a couple of years ago. They say we computerizing that. We don't need you no more.
Yeah.
And they gave us a stimulus check, and they taxed severance. They gave us a severance check. I'm thinking
okay.
They gave us a severance check, and they taxed it like 40%.
Oh man!
And I was like, I wrote on the back of the check. Do you not know this the last one I'm gonna get from them? How you gonna fix yourself to take 40% of the check?
Severance, bonus, and
they took so much money from the check. My wife woke me up and said, "Baby, I know you lied. No, you got another check up somewhere." Because they taxed that book. Oh, brother, they hit that book real good.
And I'm like, as the people, right? This is the government of the people, by the people, for the people, supposedly, right? Can't we just fold our arms and say, we ain't voting not one bit until you give us better candidates? We can't do that. It's like we being pushed and forced. You got these two choices. That's all you get. And you being pushed to the polls. I'm like,
what if this the best? What if under those restraints that they have to deal with, what if this is the best that they can do? Because let me tell you something. If you think all this and the NRA, listen, we don't have no say when they say nothing about the NRA. These people keep running up to these schools, shooting up these schools, and you don't hear a peep out of now. What I'm saying, we're gonna cut them guns back. Ain't nobody talking about them guns. Dude, that's I'm like, how many schools got to be shot up before we say something about gun reform?
I think they should get rid of lobbyists. I think lobbyists have been detrimental to the political system because big corporations, big organizations, they have deep pockets. They send them people in. Politicians, they know the politicians for sale. And they write them a nice old check.
They're all for sale.
They don't write them a check directly. They give them some kind of incentive, some kind of benefit, some kind of way, because they can't just take money directly. Ms. Linda says, Pastor Derek, that's why I said what I said. It's underlying perceptions of sexism because many people are surface thinkers, even within the body of Christ. There are great conversations that must be had amongst us, especially the household of faith. God's perspective is our guide. However, many Black men are not self-aware of their own intuitions and not willing to participate in effective communication with their women.
Who is this?
That's Miss Linda.
Miss Linda is breaking in tonight. Miss Linda said, let me put this Bible in here, throw a couple of these scriptures on y'all in Luke 17 and 33.
Oh no, they playing with you.
Not at all. Not at all. This ain't no game.
Stephen says, the problem I have with the current administration is the lack of accountability for the tax money going towards things that is not putting the citizens first. Yeah.
But this
yeah, I can go with that too.
Now I agree with that, but my thing is this: there are more people pulling on. Everybody's not like us. This is my nice way of saying it. Everybody don't think like I do. Everybody don't have the same concerns that I do. There are other concerns out there that people are having that the government is trying to deal with on our dime. So
talking about globally.
Yes.
In the global, yeah.
So how do you as a government say, well, I'm not gonna really concentrate on them as much. I'm gonna just worry about this 70, I want to say it's probably 30%. let's say, might not be 30, maybe 35, 25, 30%.
Mm-hmm.
How do you concentrate? How do you forget about those 30% of people and just worried about the 70% of the people? You can't.
You know what gets me about it though? We pay taxes. You take our money
And do what you want to do with it.
and then say you can't tell me what to do with it. Where they do that at?
They do it right here. They do it because we don't do what we. You remember? Well, you know this better than me. They took, the taxes supposed to be for the old people. We supposed to take care of the old people,
like Social Security and stuff.
like so. We
Oh yeah,
but we would.
Yeah, man, they running through their money so fast.
Oh, I know, brother.
And they blame it on stimulus and all this type of stuff, right?
Yes.
You wouldn't need to stimulate the economy if you would stabilize it. Stabilize, you won't have to stimulate it. Stephanie says, you guys have stated she's vice president. She's limited in what she can do. What's hard about that to understand? No one expects Trump to show his darn work, and yet they think he's capable.
No,
really?
we don't think.
We don't think he can.
We don't think he's capable. But now let me say, I do agree though that I think she's president or vice president Kamala is getting a bad rap because they want to see whether or not she's qualified. Let me see. They want her to prove to them that she's qualified enough for the job. When we just accept anything Donald Trump does, and when I say anything he does, listen, I'm not saying he was all bad, but he wasn't presidential. I don't think nobody gonna argue with me about that. He was presidential.
Like I said, man, that office will never be the same again. Never be the same as what we've been used to. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think right now it's a bad thing. Can it turn into a good thing? I think it could eventually if economically people get to where they need to be. Because let's be honest, that position is more about who got the money to put who they want in place.
Yeah,
that's more what it's about. Yeah. And we sitting down here and having our conversations and talking about what we like and don't like and all this type of stuff. And some dude sitting at his 35,000 square foot mansion can write one check and change the whole tide.
Yeah, fix all that. Mm-hmm. That's what Elon Musk's trying to do.
You know what I'm saying? And how do you compete with that? How do you compete with that if there's no sense of unity? If there's no sense of we need to come together so economically we can have a bigger voice. And let's be honest, we so divided. I'm talking about black people. We so divided, we can't get nothing done. Nothing done. We are so divided. Just this whole thing of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It speaks to the division that we have.
Because we for sale.
Oh. We for sale?
Brother, you give us some money.
Right. To your point, stimulus, PPP, all that type of stuff.
Here we go. Oh, hey, you don't look that bad anyway.
Oh, you my guy then. You my guy, you my girl, all that. Yeah. Go ahead and say it.
Well, no, it's funny, man. I had never thought about that before tonight, and as I'm saying it, it's man, it makes me feel some kind of way to be able to say the reason why we so divided because we for sale, and as soon as we get something that we're not used to having, we're willing to forsake all to make that money keep coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
one of the effects of oppression, and we understand we've been oppressed from chattel slavery to Jim Crow to just all the things that happened. We've been oppressed. One thing about oppression, the people who've been oppressed make the possessions of the oppressor their goals.
Yes.
So we're still running after their things.
Well,
so any opportunity we get to get things, we running after things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is the state of affairs. This is where we are. This is the state of affairs. And let me say this. People don't get in political office. And I'm talking about Anybody. People don't get in political office for the betterment of the society as a whole. People get in political office for the sake of their people. You hear what I'm saying? Nothing made it more clear to me why people hold public offices or why people get positions in government and stuff like that. Because, you know what I'm saying? They say, man, they don't pay no. So if it don't pay nothing, why is everybody? Because you get to shift the tides. Whatever that river flowing, you can tell it which way to go from those seats. When Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy, the kid who went to, I think it was
went to the
Missouri or something, he went to the rally
and
kill some people.
Yeah.
When he was on trial,
the judge
defended him stronger than his defense team.
Yeah, and he put the prosecuting people under such duress to where they couldn't even try him.
They couldn't even try him like they wanted to.
Yeah.
And when I looked at that, I saw it. I said, "Oh, that's why people hold positions like that.
Yeah,
they want to preserve their way of life." And typically, because this is what happens, I've seen communities where they build and they begin to thrive, right? Mm-hmm. They build these massive communities, these big homes, and they're a group of people. I'm talking about a group of people. They start buying up the businesses around there. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, you start seeing them running for political office. You see, political office is not about what's good for the people. Political office is what's good for my people. Black people are the only group who don't do that. We don't. Black people do not get in office and say, I'm going to look after my people. They play it straight down the line, which everybody should, but nobody else is doing that. As Linda says, Trump does not have the developed character to be a representative of this diplomatic stature. But we praised billionaires and millionaires for so long that they pretty much do what they want to. Even run for political office, the highest office in the land.
We put them on a pedestal.
We put them on a pedestal.
Financial success, even when they hadn't achieved it, or it was given to somebody that. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And we do it in the church, and we do it everywhere else.
You sure do. Let's be honest. Let somebody with some money roll into your church. See how the people act.
See how they treat them.
Yeah. Unless it's just one of them big churches where, they just once among all the rest of them. Mm-hmm. All right. Stephanie says, she can't disrespect her boss, Joe, to prove herself, because then they will talk about her and say she's out of line, out of order. There is no way to do that. All of us have interviewed for better jobs, and we usually have no previous experience for the job we want. We show them what we have, the right qualifications for the job. So you got a point. You're absolutely right. And it's always a crapshoot. How many people been hired? Kill the interview. Oh, they kill the interview. And as soon as they get in that position, you like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What are they?
In Kamala's defense, boy, that presidency, boy, drive a good man. I just hope she has the great support team and cabinet with her while just in case she is president. Because man, that president, Barack Obama don't even look the same no more.
Yeah, she's gonna look 85 when she come out there. All that stuff, man. Final thoughts, man. Final thoughts.
Wow, final thoughts for the season, man. This is what is heavy to me, man. This is near and dear to my heart, man. I just want to say, I implore for everybody to vote, man. Take time to go over. First of all, we got to get past this. We got to get past I'm voting for such and such because of this. Let's figure out who's the best candidate for the job. Figure out who is the best candidate for the job and vote for that person. And I know we have our own personal things. I know I can't talk nobody out of this, so I can't talk this one out of that. And I get it. But let's not be a fool to reason. Let's not be a fool to read. Let's vote for because but for the most part, vote, y'all. Because if you don't vote, then whatever you get, you can't complain about it. At least you have a voice and use it. No matter how strong or how weak, use your voice. And that's my final thought.
I know we've been conditioned to vote along party lines. I think we need to erase those lines and really take a look at both candidates. Who really is the best, considering what we have to choose from? Who's really the best based on that? And I know we've been taught to be loyal one way or the other, loyal to Democrat or either loyal to Republican, but it's really more about what they plan to accomplish and how does that benefit the private citizens? How does that benefit us as citizens? And let me say, I'm a citizen of this United States, and I participate in the political process because I'm a citizen of the United States. But my hope, my faith, and all that stuff is not in these politicians. I do it as an exercise because I'm from here. But I do not put my hope and my faith in them. I'm not going to drive myself crazy like that. I know what my hope and my faith is, and that's where it's going to be. And so whatever happens, however it turns out, God got us. He got us. And that's my final thought.
Hey, boy, you going to preach? Take your
Come
time.
on now.
Oh, hey. Well, I'm going to pull my pants up and got to hit that.
Let me get a hemo with a shot.
In the words of Missy Elliott, can I get a hee?
Man, listen. We definitely appreciate everybody sharing your thoughts, your opinions about this election. Miss Linda, sharing her thoughts about this election, chiming in. We appreciate y'all, just all your comments, right? So we're gonna catch y'all next time.
Well, y'all still hitting it.
I know they still. Hey, y'all can keep the conversation going. Listen, you're more than welcome to go into the comments and keep it going. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and lock in with us.
Tell somebody about the show, y'all.
Yep. We gonna holler at y'all. Catch y'all next Monday. Peace out.